Comment 2 in Unit 14 gives the details for how to generate random numbers in any range. Let's look at a couple of examples. For example, suppose we would like to generate random numbers between, say, 40 and 200. The formula given in comment 2 tells us to go about it this way. We type a formula starting with the rand function. Then we multiply it by the range of numbers. The range is the distance between the smallest number and the largest number. The distance from 40 to 200 is 160. So that's what we multiply here. Finally, we add on the number at the lowest end of the range. Every time we hit F9, rand will generate a new random number. So we can hit F9 a number of times and verify that the random numbers generated are in fact between 40 and 200. But let's look again at the formula and see why it works. The smallest number that rand can generate is 0, and the highest number is 1. If rand gives its lowest answer, that's 0, then the first part of the formula is 0 times some number, and that part simply goes away. It becomes 0 plus something else. So when rand is 0, the number generated is this one over here, which in fact is the lowest number we would like to generate. It's the number 40 in this particular case. This formula correctly generates the number that we put at the end when rand gives its lowest answer. What about when rand gives its highest possible answer? That's 1. In that case, we have 1 times 160, or 160. In general, we get the size of the range. If we take the size of the range and add it to the lowest number of the range, what we get is the top number of the range. For example, 40 plus 160 gives 200. That means that the highest number this formula can generate is the number at the top of the range. So this formula correctly generates all numbers from the lowest end of the range to the lowest number plus the range, which is the highest number in the range. Two last points before we stop. First, what about if we'd like to generate numbers between a negative number and a positive number? For example, say between negative 100 and 200. We'll use exactly the same formula, but we need to be a little careful. The size of the range in this case is the distance between negative 100 and 200. From negative 100 up to 0 is already a distance of 100, and then we still have 200 farther to go. The distance from negative 100 to 200 is 300. The formula calls for us to put the lowest number of the range at the end here. And we could type this, that is, this part plus a negative 100. This is correct, but it's not necessary. We can get the same effect by simply subtracting 100. Adding a negative 100 is the same as subtracting 100. So this formula correctly gives us numbers between negative 100 and positive 200. Finally, sometimes we'd like to generate not just a number, but say a percentage. We can do that using the same formula. But we need to tell Excel from the beginning that it is a percentage. We put parentheses around the entire randomly generated number and then use a percentage sign to show that that's what we mean. Of course, we still need to format the answer as a percentage. And here, hitting F9, are random percentages between negative 100 and positive 200%.